Hello. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you're all doing good. Skarbek, have you got like 5G powers now?
The user interface hasn't changed, so I'm not really sure how to validate whether I'm actually connected to the internet or not.
We'll let you know. It's like, you know, if your internet gets a bit unstable, we know it's not it's not fully working, right? I'm expecting good things from these vaccines. Awesome. So dropped in MTTP. I see we're still having some incidents and things going on last week, but it is looking super healthy. So great work, Yurik and Robert and Myra for helping out as well. So on the announcements, so we should do say sync so that everyone can get involved. But if you haven't already, please spend some time looking through the Q2 proposal. Thanks for everyone who's left comments on already. It's definitely open for discussion. I think probably the big thing is it still too much, right? That was probably the thing I was thinking of last week, is we still have a lot of other things. So have a think about, is there a way we can make it smaller? Should we make it smaller? Should we drop stuff to make Q2 a little bit less stressful? But our goal is it'd be good to have a sort of good idea of what we want to do by the end of this week, and then we can spend the next couple of weeks, last 2 weeks of the quarter, just getting those things written up and kicked off. Cool. And then Myra out Thursday. Very nice. Cool. So over to discussion points then. So on Wednesday we have an AMA. Does anyone have any suggestions for a bit of a loose theme that we can use to kind of encourage people to come along and discuss with us? We can also do async. I was wondering, is it too early to do something around 14.0?
What do you have in mind, Amy?
Just like, I'm wondering whether something like we could put out like super lightweight, because we're all quite busy, but like just in the kind of announcement of it's an AMA, whether we encourage teams who, you know, have things coming in 14.0, breaking changes, if they want to come and discuss with us how we can make that like as little pain as possible, then yeah, that could be a good one.
Do we know if there is an issue collecting all the breaking changes already?
There is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite a long one as well.
Wow, man, it's fine. It's one weekend, right? So it's just a matter of managing expectation.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Okay, well, I'll drop that in the Slack channel as well, so we can take that async, because I know we're missing a couple of people today. So cool. And then yeah, so maybe I thought, Alessio, following on from your Slack comment, that actually if we do want to try and do this week, it'd be good to work out what our plan is for this production rollback. This week feels like a good week because next week we'll be into release prep, well into release prep, so that feels a bit risky. So goals, we're aiming for a dry run rollback, right?
I do have a question for Yorick, I think is the appropriate person to answer that. So I know we are in the middle of a P1S1 security release. So I'm wondering if this, maybe tomorrow is not the best time or the best opportunity to test this. So I mean, it really depends if we manage to get the security fix out, and then we also have maybe the next production deployment, because I don't want to mess with a security release with just us trying to do rollbacks or things like that, even if we are not doing a rollback.
Yeah, so we had originally the security release planned for today. but I think there's like three merge requests still under review. And
Yeah, it's my fault. I blocked all of them. Sorry.
No, there were like 2 of them where I think they were in a similar state on Friday. And there was some stuff that was added last minute related to everything. Either way, there's a couple of merge requests that are tied into each other, still under review. So I would suspect probably we won't start the security release until the US time, depending a bit on the review cycle, but probably tomorrow even. Let's say that we can start doing that EU time tomorrow. That means probably around the rollback time it already is on production. Assuming, fingers crossed, assuming everything works. So I think for the most part, the rollback meeting should be fine. But I'll let you know, like, let's say 3 hours before the meeting, something like that.
So please consider that, Yorick, that we, in order for test this, the way we would like to run it when we run a real one, is that we want to cancel post-deployment migration prior to running this. So this means that we should have the security release deployed, and then another deployment in the same day that we can cancel post-deployment migration ahead of time. That's why I think it's a bit
should be feasible. Like the last couple of days, we've been able to deploy 2-3 times a day, at least EU time. Yeah, again, that depends entirely on any incidents, whatever. But in theory, should be fine.
We also don't have to rush this bit, right? So the other thing is the change request. We have a little bit of work to do there still, I think, and we'll need to find a reviewer because Java's out. So we might be a little bit tight for tomorrow anyway, but I'd suggest, like, let's go ahead and get prepared, and then maybe we don't do the rollback in a demo meeting, but we can just say, like, it's a good time, we've got everything approved, we have a couple of people who are free for 2 hours. Like, it doesn't actually have to be all of us, as long as a few people can watch it and we can record it. Cool. So let's
have a question, sorry, about the rollback. Do we need to cancel the post-deployment job even though we are doing a dry run?
Yeah, I would like to do so because I want to see how the pipeline reacts to, because maybe we overlooked something, maybe just some weird failure. So I would like to test it as close as possible to what we are going to run in production.
Okay, thanks.
So, Yurik, do you want to tell us when, be the person that basically says, like, security release is done, there's another deployment has happened, we're safe to go, and then we can work out, like, what we do with the CR, getting that ready and approved, and then we'll actually have the step of, like, okay, we're entering into our rollback kind of test, and we can actually stop the post-deployment migration and plan a time. It's kind of 3 pieces, I think.
Yeah, so I will let Alessio know tomorrow. This is probably going to be also the first deploy usually done is like 1-2 o'clock, give or take. So around that time, we would know more. So what I'll do actually is I'll notify Alessio at, let's say, 1 o'clock. And then again 3 o'clock, I guess, depending on sort of how things go.
Great, perfect. Thanks for that. Alessio, what do we need to do with this change request? Like, I assume we need to modify it to match a dry run.
Yeah, basically that one was designed around the old idea of just doing everything without canceling. So just deploying something, and so we need to modify it a bit to what we will test in the dry run, as well as I think we need to provide some links or information where all the tests, so what we tested so far, which is basically the rollback scenario discussion issue, where there's all the discussion. There's a kind of outline at the top now, and maybe just we can create a nice table, which is maybe easier to get the extract information from.
Okay, that makes sense. Are you going to have time to do the table?
I can try tomorrow.
So if you do the table, Myra, do you think you'll have any time today? I know it's very security release dependent. But if you did, we could take this in Slack, I guess, but I'm kind of thinking like if you had time today, maybe you could make a first pass on the CR and get that ready. And then tomorrow, Alessio and I could do some work in the morning to get the table added in, finish off any bits you didn't get to. We could try and get that approved before you start tomorrow. And then in the afternoon, we can maybe try and set this up.
Yes, of course.
Does that make sense? I'll summarize in Slack, because there's a few pieces, but I'm thinking there's like maybe 3 or 4 bits we can keep moving. All of this is security release dependent, of course, like we should prioritize that above everything. So cool, fantastic. I'll summarize. Thank you. Cool. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording so we can move on to the next topics.